Will sealed investments of Magic the Gathering remain a nightmare, or is there a chance for these products to rehabilitate themselves? Sealed products from Magic the Gathering. It's time to talk about the future of these products. And really, it's time to talk about if they even have a future. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. And of course, it's another day closer to 20,000 subscribers. Thanks again to everyone out there who's been smashing that subscribe button and joining the channel and joining this conversation of Magic the Gathering we have here each and every day. Sealed products. I don't care what sealed product you collect. It doesn't matter. They all fit into the same category. They are unopened, sealed Magic the Gathering products. Now, I do own quite a few of these, and I have and still do believe in these products, okay? And we're going to talk about that today, how it will pan out in the future, and how I think things will work out, and where we are right now. Are there advantages to be taken right now? Should we be waiting and holding on to our cash? What will drive a product later on? These are questions a lot of people ask. I've had a lot of people asking me lately about this in my Discord, on email, so I thought we'd take the time to talk about some of the stuff going on. In the past, if you look at my old videos, I would talk about sealed product investment, especially draft boxes. I've always been big on that, for being 5 to 7 years to double your money, give or take. That has totally changed after the 30th anniversary. After that, the entire landscape of Magic the Gathering sealed product investing, and that's what it was called. We call it investing because you're hoping for a higher return later. It has completely changed. The idea of investing and doubling your money in something, which is what I like to do, the rule of double. And I'm a lot more conservative than many people out there. I was kind of not being greedy about it. I just wanted to double my money. So if a box went to 500 and I bought the box for 100, I know I could sell it for 2 and still make cash. I kind of kept that always in my checker point. And yes, for those who are asking out there, I've made a lot of money selling sealed boxes over the years, okay? I really have done really well in it, had a good time doing it, lots of fun to pick up old boxes and flip them when the market was good. Now, the market as it stands, very interesting to tell you all, the boxes are still selling. Secondary market boxes are selling. They are just not selling in the quantities they used to. But there is definitely a group of people out there still buying these sealed products, especially boxes, the actual sealed boxes. I don't care if they're collector boxes, draft boxes, set booster boxes, but everything else is kind of a lot slower. Some commander decks are actually selling well, but generally speaking, everything is still selling, but it has to be selling at the right price, and that's the difference. I have a cheat sheet today. In 2014, I bought a box of Fallen Empires for like $100. Really cheap, nobody cared. It's Fallen Empires. That box shot up during 2020, during these massive buyouts, all the way up to like $1,200. A Fallen Empires box right now is around $800 Canadian. These are Canadian price I'm giving you, $800. So it's already fallen and lost ground, but it's nowhere near as cheap as it was in 2014. Does that mean it's going to sell for $800 today? No, because the boxes that are available are stuck at that price, which means whoever has them is trying to liquidate them. You got to go lower than that. So the market right now is definitely at a point where, yes, things will sell if it's at a deep discount. If you can afford to take the hit, yes, things are selling. But we have a real problem right now with what Wizards of the Coast did during 30th anniversary is they shocked the market. They shocked it so bad. It has not recovered in the general sense people would like it to be. Like other YouTube channels would like to say, hey, it's going great. It's not going great. But it's not as bad as people think either. Now, if I show you guys a couple of images, let's say I show you, is this one? There we go. Here is Streets of New Capenna. This is locally for $209 Canadian. It was $269. This is a sale being run at a local store. $209. I remember when Theros, right? Beyond Death was on sale for $200 a box. I thought that was a killer deal. There was 13 to 16 mythics a box. They had crazy cards inside. Croxa. Right? We had some great stuff. But look where things went. That box is on sale, and it's not really selling that much. It has Triomes in there. but it's streets nobody cares. So at the LGS level, things aren't selling as hot as they'd like. They're having to give deep discounts to move product, like that $209 box. It is selling at that price, but it wasn't selling at $269. Pricing your product correctly in the market environment you're in really is important. But that means it's just as important to buy at the right price. You need to buy at a bigger discount if you want to sell it later to maximize profits. Now the next one here I want to show you. This is Dominaria United. Remember guys, back in September? This box came out, it was $319.95. But then in November of 2022, it was $299 a box. It kind of drifted back down. And then here we are, May 2023. This thing's $219. This is basically 1/3 off what the original asking price was. 1/3 off what the original asking price was. Now, the funny thing is, that means this LGS is not buying more of the product. They are sitting on stock, hoping to liquidate it to get cash flow. Lots of stores are doing this. The bigger stores have a lot more wiggle room, obviously. They usually have a little bit more of a cushion so they can outweight other people. But also, as their product sells and they're not restocking, they eventually start raising the price. So they might say, if we sell 10 units, we got to raise it $5. If we sell 10 more units, raise it $5 more. Trying to find the equal price where they sell 1 or 2 boxes, 1 or 2, every week or every 2 weeks, whatever their little margins thing calls for, but not losing too much of their cash. So if you're a person out there thinking you're going to get rich doing this, no. Originally, I set out doing this because I wanted to have 1 or 2 boxes kept aside because I saw box prices jumped up all the time. And right now, it's a nightmare for anyone who needs liquidity. You have to be able to outlast, or you had to buy it at a better deal. If you need actual money for this stuff, you're going to take a bath on anything you're buying. Anything. Now, if I showed you this one here, this is Unfinity. Remember those beautiful Shocklands they put in this thing, the space Shocklands? This thing was going for $319. That's the price they had it at originally at some point. I didn't track this one as closely. Now they have it for $229. Interesting, right? Now, how about if I jump that down and I say, hey, here's Kamigawa. Now, these things were $400 a box. You guys remember that? $400 a box because of the neon colors inside. And now, $249. Still got great cards inside. Great cards are inside that set. $249. So if you can get these at a discount, is it worth buying them right now? What's the future of products like this? Now, many of you guys are going to tell me it's dead. There's no point in ever doing it again. I beg to differ. I may not be as bullish as I was on this stuff, but there is definitely a reason why some people will choose to collect some of these boxes. There is definitely a reason, and here it is. Nostalgia. How does nostalgia affect consumers? After nostalgic memories have led to an increase in feelings of social connectedness. The second step to give rise to nostalgia effect occurs. In this step, our desire for money is reduced by our strengthened feelings of social connectedness, making us more willing to spend our money to buy back that nostalgia, to get back to the nostalgic world we lived in. And this is where things can get kind of crazy. When I talked yesterday in a video about how Wizards has had a bit of an eye-opener, when they realized with their toy divisions, when they reissue toys that are nostalgic to a lot of us in our 40s and 50s, that we're willing to spend that money to buy those toys. The same thing happens to Magic cards. It happens at different times, it happens at different stages in our lives. But I'm going back right now, and so are many of you, trying to finish complete sets. Going for Arabian Nights. I'm spending hundreds of dollars buying these cards, and I still have thousands and thousands of dollars more to spend. That is my feeling of nostalgia for those cards I played as a teenager. Anyone playing Magic now who leaves and come back, or they store their cards in a cardboard box in a plastic bag with rubber bands around it, eventually comes back to the game and says, oh, I still... Remember Benelish Hero, guys? I love Benelish Hero, don't I? I'm willing to pay for those cards, right? When you look at this stuff, nostalgia takes hold. It is the biggest driving factor of collectibles. And it does go in life stages. So that means over the lifetime of that consumer area, you will see a growth and then a decline. Hitting that right area is what's key. You understand that if I'm now in my 40s, by the time I'm in my 70s, If I try to pass it on to my kid, if Minnie Mox doesn't have that same nostalgic appeal to them, he's not going to care. And so will every other kid. So unless other people get connected to these things, it can fall to the wayside. But right now is what matters. And your nostalgic feel to collect hockey cards, baseball cards, Pogs, Pokemon, whatever it may be, it drives you to spend that money because you want that connectedness you felt as a kid, as a teen, as a young adult, or even as an older adult who couldn't afford the cards you wanted. And your social circumstances changed, and now you can buy them. Now when you start thinking that way, and you think about the boxes in the backdrop, you say, oh, Moxman paid $112. Are you telling me in 20 years, 15 years, kids who played in this era, who are young teens, young 20s, now in their 40s, can afford these boxes? They see it for $200. They're not going to buy it? Of course they are. If it's priced right. And the more nostalgic connectedness you have to it, the higher you're willing to pay. And that drives so many parts of the collectible world that you can't ignore it. Now, when you think of magic products, some have greater nostalgic appeal to larger audiences than others. When we take a look at Zendikar Rising, I want you to think about this. This has the pathway cards. We also had box toppers, and those box toppers were actually pretty cool, weren't they? Those box toppers had a chance for a fetch land inside. Remember those cool ones? Or you had all kinds of other kind of like, fast and slow lands. Very cool, fun kind of idea. One in every box, instead of giving us random amounts of actual fetch lands, which is what they should have done, they gave us this feel, this idea. And the reason draft boxes generally do well later is when you buy a box of this and you decide you want to crack it open with some friends, you all split the packs. Hard to do with set, hard to do with collector. But with a draft box, this is why I like draft boxes more overall, because if that box is $100 when I bought it, you could buy them, I think it's $79, $89 Canadian at one point during one of these Christmas deals. If you got them that cheap and you waited 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, because I kind of think always between 9 and 12 years now, I had to lengthen that timeline out because the profits just aren't there after the 30th anniversary. You look at that timeline, you jump in there, and you can see that if somebody would pay $200, and don't forget, $200 won't be worth as much by that point, right? Because you have inflation and stuff against you. But you bought it $100 and it's just been sitting there. It's still money in your pocket. You get to look at it, enjoy it. Maybe you cracked the box yourself because you bought it and paid for it. But if you're looking to profit off this stuff, then you do have to hold it. Take care of it. Keep it in good shape. So when that nostalgic consumer comes along 10, 12, 15 years from now, you can try to capitalize on and make some money. Definitely not as easy as people think. Now, there are also secondary factors that come into this stuff. Not just nostalgic, but for anybody else out there, there's also the cards inside the set. Okay? When you look if there's decent cards people want, or if cards haven't gotten a reprint, some sets go up because cards haven't been reprinted. They always will be at some point. We know how Wizards will deal with stuff. But sometimes their printing schedule doesn't allow for some more obscure cards to hit a direct set, and that causes an older box to go up. We haven't seen fetch lands for a while, and cons is slowly creeping up because we haven't seen fetches. I think they're still focusing on triomes and those pathways. I think they're still focused there. I think they're giving shocks, and they're giving the fetch lands a bit of a break to see if the recovery mode will happen for those things. But we'll see. That's just like a little tinfoil hat thing. But when we look at the cards inside a set, it can drive a box as well. It can actually cause it to creep up. And if it gets too high, if those cards become too high, people buy the boxes just to tear into them. Just to rip in like they did with cons. There isn't as many cons boxes as there should be because so many people open them to get to those fetch lands. But after 30th anniversary, cons of Tarkir boxes are not that pricey. Every other card inside the set is basically worthless except for fetch lands. And you could get up to 6. I had boxes with 6. I also had boxes with 2 and 3. It's all, it's all kind of in that realm there that you have to decide. But some people are willing to go back and relive that experience. Other people want the money. They'll keep it sealed and try to resell it to somebody who wants to, again, relive that experience. Instead of yourself, you're like, hey, I've had this box 10 years. I was going to open it. I changed my mind. I need to go out for some nachos and cheese. I need some cash. Let me sell that box. I bought it for $90, which you kept a spreadsheet on so you know how much you paid. And now I get to sell it for $350. So I'll sell it for $250, get it out the door ahead of everybody else selling. Because there will be other people trying to maximize. They're trying to outlast you. You want cash, undercut. undercut big. But is it just going to stay a nightmare? I really don't think it will. Some of these box prices I share with you, they look good to me. When I look at a card like Shieldred right now, going for like 75 bucks. Dominaria United Collector box, you're more than likely to get at least one. That almost pays for half the box at $2.19 Canadian a box. Kind of weird, right? We haven't seen any Brothers War sales yet, but that's serialized stuff, right? You start looking at some of these boxes and the cards within, and you're like, there's a chance you can hit 2 or 3 in some, like, it gets a little more iffy the closer you get to high value cards versus the box. You might want to open them or sell them as quick as you can, because deals like that do fade away over time. Not always can you hit the right marker. You have to be able to outlast, you have to be able to outwork, and you got to be able to do what it takes to make those kind of things happen. Not many people have that in them. I have basically stopped sealed box collecting at this point because I'm not attracted to any of the new stuff coming out right now unless it's at a discount. So when I see a deep discount like I did, I think it was Throne of Eldraine, when they had them for like $79 a box at face-to-face, I grabbed a whole bunch, $79 or $89. It was a good deal. I'm not looking at the spreadsheet right now, but I bought a whole whack load of those boxes because it was such a good, it's going to be a great set going forward. So if you're a person who thinks that none of these boxes have any value, then they don't have value to you. You don't care. But there are people who will find value and have that nostalgic attachment. That attachment means anyone who held on to sealed boxes over time can sell them back into the market at the premium that the market will bear. Remember, it's only what somebody's willing to pay. You don't just get to set a price and say, this is the price. The market ends up deciding the price at some point. With boxes I've sold, I will always undercut everyone around me by like 30 to 35%. If they're selling a box, let's just say Dominaria 2018, the boxes go for around $350 Canadian. So if it's going for $350 Canadian and I bought them for $134, I just got to charge $240? $240, I'll take some fees and shipping losses, and I probably will sell mine pretty quick. If I sell for $240, shipping included. Somebody's going to grab that box. I may not make a lot of profit, but I'm going to make a little bit plus my original investment back, and that's where you have to decide for yourself if the sealed box nightmare will continue forever and cause a real grief going down the line where nobody wants to collect it. When everyone avoids it, some of you guys are going to tell me, oh, but if everyone avoids it, then what's going to happen is those boxes will go up in value. Yes and no. They're still out there. They're just not owned by a person. They're owned by an LGS who's sitting on them. They're owned by Rudy at Alpha Investments in a warehouse. They're owned by somebody. They were produced. They just didn't get sold. They're sitting somewhere, though. It's not as if they don't exist. So if you think, I'm going to buy this box on eBay, and it's it's been 10 years. You're like, oh, I'm going to buy it for $400. The next day, another box will appear, right? It's going to appear because that same person probably has lots of boxes, maybe. But if you see somebody undercutting, that's a person actually trying to sell. They don't have a mass quantity available, but they also could do the famous old switcheroo setup where they put a box at 500, they put another box at 250, and they own both accounts. You got to look around. You got to be careful. You got to trust your sellers and look into yourself and decide for yourself if it's a good deal. Remember that too. But the idea that it's worth nothing, I don't buy into it. I know if I took some of the boxes in the background here and I put them up for a really sweet deal, somebody's going to buy them. Because somebody else will see that same value in that same deal. And if it's a person who loved to set, if I went back and said, hey, I don't know, let's pick something kind of old, Aether Revolt. If I said I bought Aether Revolt for $119, and then if I go and sell it for $180, that means I'm making like $61. And then I said I pay for the shipping, that's $20, so now I'm down to $40. Minus another like $15 for fees. Yeah, I'm probably walking away with $25 to $26 in profit. But I did make profit. You can't undersell the nostalgic feeling people get for collectibles. Anyone who plays Magic now or has a favorite set they played in, they probably at some point will go back looking for that set. Many of us do. We look back and say, I hope I can afford to buy an Antiquities booster pack. I hope I can get an Arabian Nights booster pack that's sealed. Even though they're thousands of dollars, I want to get one. I want to go back and relive that experience. People do it every day. But finding things at the right price, and you've got to be willing to take the risk and hold on to it for all those years in the hopes you get a reward, means the market is not going to recover yet. The black eye that 30th anniversary did when it shook this environment we're in has not healed. But somebody out there is still buying products. Somebody out there still has these boxes, and somebody will probably make money at some point if they were willing to take the risk. I don't think most people are willing to, including myself. I'd rather dive into the cards I think are most important and, of course, buy reserve list cards. It doesn't mean I don't buy any boxes. I just buy a very limited amount to support my local LGSs, and I spread that money around. Thanks again for hanging out, everyone. Thanks for being here on the channel. I hope you found this video informative. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. And of course, turn on that notification bell because we upload content each and every day. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And don't forget, bring a friend to Magic. Have a great time playing the game, because even when it's all cloudy and dark like this, it's still a great game to play. Have an awesome day, everyone. And of course, this is that moment where we give a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons of the channel who help support this content each and every day. This is why the daily uploads happen. Thanks again to my Patreon supporters. You guys rock. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, you made it to the end. I know we're not done. The video actually was not done. I felt that I wanted to add this section afterwards, at the very end of ends. So thanks a lot for being here. Definitely put a boomstick in the comment section if you made it this far, because that was a long video. And it's funny how people sometimes like, hey, was I supposed to put a comment? What's everyone else putting as a comment? I know you didn't watch. I can tell on the algorithm if people watch. All right. The one product that's not selling. Can you guys guess what it is? Take a second. Pause my video. You get me. Pause it. And can you guess? Any reprint product. Modern Horizons 2 is doing very well. Even though it's got reprint cards, doing very well. But when you take a look at things like Iconic Masters, Modern Masters, Ultimate Masters, Modern Masters 2013 original printing, not selling. That box used to go for $1,000 in the early days of reprints. It's all the way down to 500 and change, 549 Canadian. They're not selling because the players are smarter than that now. They know the reprints don't have value. They may have cards they want individually, but there's no point in holding a sealed product like that unless you're collecting a whole set of every Modern Masters product. I understand that. There's some collectors who want those things. But that's a very niche market to get into. It's bad when you actually look at the overall sales for those type of products. Very interesting stuff. So thanks a lot for being here. Thanks for hanging out. I thought people should know that because D&D, Kamigawa, these things are all selling. Even Gatewatch is still selling. Maybe not as fast as others, but the reprint ones are like that. They're just dead. Modern Masters, it sells. Modern Horizons, Commander Legends original, that actually sold some collector boxes recently. That was pretty bad. I couldn't believe how expensive they still are. Crazy stuff, guys. So, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Remember, it may not be worth the risk, but some of these prices are pretty attractive. They are. Dominaria, it's pretty close. Pretty close. Guys, have a great one.